and welcome back to another episode of The Credit Authority. Once again, I am your host, Rhonda Kulch, and thank you for tuning in today. Of course, we love to bring you amazing guests, but it's just not possible without our sponsors. So thank you so much to Equity First. If you are experiencing credit and or financial challenges, feel free to reach out to their trained team of professionals. They are bilingual nationwide and waiting for your call. They can be reached at 631-714-4822. And now that we got that out of the way, we're with the dynamic duo of Occuagency, my friends Eddie and Gershom. How are you?
Doing really well. Thank you so much for having us.
I don't know if I could say that about Eddie. What
really?
did you do? You just dropped something?
Yeah, I got nervous. Wow.
I'm
so happy to be here, Rhonda. Thank you so much.
So you guys have been really instrumental in the marketing space for many years. And I feel like people know you, and then they know you in one capacity and then another capacity. But right now, I know the two of you have been really focusing on rebranding and being really specific in your vertical, which is really there to help implement the business owner for strength and numbers and to really be able to capitalize on their profitability.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about what Occuagency is doing now and really like overall how you're able to help that, that business owner, especially since that's a predominant market that that our audience is.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that we've noticed as of lately, which is huge, is that, a lot of business owners that have, maybe over the years, thousands, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands clients aren't really maximizing on their opportunity to remarket to them, essentially. We've seen that a lot of different companies aren't even really keeping a database of their clients and everything's on paper. So even the act of remarketing to them is, basically unfeasible for them.
Yeah, like ultimately there are two things. There's generating new business, right? And then there's what about all of the customers that have already passed through your organization, your store, your business? Are we maybe forgetting about them, or is that list maybe growing so large that it becomes difficult to keep in touch with them in a way that's genuine and not so transactional?
And I think what happens too, and I'll be the first to say, because I've said it to you off air, I have thousands of clients that I've worked with over the years that have had amazing results, and it became personal and emotional. And they always say, I would love to refer you. I have so many people I want to refer. But when that situation is gone, it's transactional. When that file is closed and they're on their next chapter, they're really not thinking about me or my business in that space. But I have yet to market to them, or at least have a creative strategy to say, hey, remember me? I'm the one that got you through your life event. Right?
Yeah, no, and it's so difficult, right? Because you ultimately at that point you want to give yourself wholly to the next customer that's through the door, and in the beginning of a business, we make more time for those things, right? Like in the beginning stages, when the business is young and there isn't an extensive list of clients, we make a point to say Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. It gets more difficult as the customer list grows, and it's a thing that I think a lot of business owners have a target for. They want to be doing things to stay top of mind, but it's in practice it's difficult to implement, especially as that list grows. If you're dealing with hundreds of clients every year, that list just grows every year, and the truth is that they would be pleased to hear from you, and it's just a major opportunity. Actually, people are actually really surprised to see how well it's received when you just reach out, say hello, a genuine check-in to a past customer. We're seeing across campaigns of 50 or 100 past customers. The response is pretty overwhelming. I mean, typically you send a message out to just 50 or 100 people that you've done good business with in the past, and you're floored with responses, and it might busy you for the next several hours. So it's really interesting.
And you just hit it right on the head. And again, we've talked about this. you decide, or I should say, I decide that, hey, I'm going to every Monday morning wake up and text, 15 or 20, let's just say marketing partners of mine. Within the hour, I'm flooded with, how are you? Do you want to grab lunch? What does your schedule look like? And all of a sudden, what started out as I just wanted to say hi and be top of mind turns into half a day of, tyranny, right? Because it's you now need to respond. So if we're working on a remarketing strategy or a remarketing campaign, and I'm a business owner, how do you help me to filter that problem of time management? Because that's really what it boils down to.
Well, I would say one of the biggest things is like, okay, who am I going to text today? What am I going to say? How many am I going to send? Things of that nature. I would say, for us, what we've seen is we're literally just compiling the list, helping compose the text, and then scheduling it, right? So, for example, we have one homeowners insurance client that is using our system to contact everybody that he has homeowners insurance, but not necessarily auto insurance, right? And it's 3,000 people in his book of business, so it's huge. Basically for him, we're scheduling them whenever he's available, right? So whenever he has the extra hour or two to actually, contact these people, one, he doesn't have to actually send the text, right? So we're formulating all that for him. He's basically just waiting for the responses. So we've gotten away with sending out 100 texts and maybe 15 or 20 people answer, and then he's just scheduling a time to get on the phone with them to make it easy. So rather than being overwhelmed and trying to handle all of those conversations at once, we're setting it up in a systematic approach, maybe sending a Calendly link so that they can schedule a time to speak, and it makes it much more manageable. But if I was like, hey, why don't you contact those 3,000 people and solicit them for business? I mean, it's a really overwhelming task without the appropriate help.
So, you just mentioned that the rebranding is a text campaign. Mm-hmm. What happens when you're somebody like myself, or maybe a restaurant, or any kind of business, but they've never collected that data?
Well, then we put things in place to collect the data. I would say that's probably the biggest misstep of many companies, right? It's like, well, I've had tens of thousands of clients and I have none of their information. So then we start putting things in place, whether it be a QR code, an intake form, anything that we can use to gather that data. And, I would argue that that's even more valuable than the system in itself, right? If you're actually going to start compiling your clients' data so that you can stay in touch with them and you can, remind them that you're in business and that you did a great job for them and, solicit more business essentially out of them, the value is tremendous.
And then we're also, we're sort of helping them, dig through the archives and figure out how do we, what's a systematic approach for us to get all of the data over the last 3 to 5 years. If it's in a filing cabinet, then we're literally sending people to grab it, scan it, get it converted into a CSV, because that customer data is so important. People that have, if you ask a business owner, how do we get here? What's our standard way of getting business? And one of the favorite things that they'll tell you is, oh, word of mouth and referrals. Our customers love us. We do great work, and we've been able to grow our business to this point just literally on referrals. It's so critically important to just remain in touch in a genuine way with every customer whose life you touched. It doesn't even have to be a promotional message, but because it's so valuable, it's worth it. It's worth it for us to, put the human resources in place, the man hours to, collect that data in whatever format it's in. Maybe it's in, some, very old CRM. Maybe it's in a really, disorganized spreadsheet. Maybe it's, in a couple of cabinets in the back of the office. Anywhere it is, you will be pleasantly surprised to find out how well received, hey, hello, just checking in, hope you're well. It's us who helped you with that thing at that point, at that point in time. You'd be surprised at how well that's received. And, you get all sorts of messages like, oh my God, what you did for us was so special. Or, maybe it's, oh, we were just thinking of you and I had lost your business card, like any number of things.
It's top of mind. It reminds me of a system that's like a QuickBooks for the marketing side.
Yeah,
right? Like a QuickBooks for the marketing side, because once it's there and it's set up, the rest of your life just became so much easier.
Yeah.
So with that said, we are running out of time. Once again, we are in studio today with Eddie and Gershom. They are the managing partners of the Occuagency. We'll be posting all of their information so you could hear more and follow them. So with that in mind, stay tuned for our next guest.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.